All right, folks. I'm just busy responding to a message on Meetup quickly, so if you just bear with me. Somebody asked about captions for these live streams, which might be possible. So I'm going to look into that, but I just want to also I've just realized that I don't have my sound set up. So you should be getting the background audio now. It's been a while since I've streamed. I've forgotten how it all works. Okay. Alrighty, set that off. So today I am going to be messing around with multi-site. I ran a workshop last week on setting up a multi-site, and some folks had some questions around how to do various things. I don't know how many of those things I'm going to get through today, but we'll see how it goes. Before I do that, I just need to do something. You can tell I haven't live streamed in a while. So some of the questions were, there was questions around adding top-level domains, which I remembered after the workshop how that works. Couldn't remember how it worked in the workshop. Converting a multi-site to a single site and taking a subsite out of the network. And then there was a question around existing sites. Okay, so we're going to try and go through those. All going well, I should have a multi-site set up. Yes, I do. That's good. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I have set up this site. There's WordPress. I'm going to create a new site. Oh yes. Okay, let's just create Bob for now. Okay, and then I just want to check the site address. Okay, there we go. So, what I want to do now wrong password. So me setting up some test domains to point to the multi-site. Let's call it bobpress.test. And what this will do is this will handle as if my DNS is set up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to create a new virtual host for that. So I'm going to copy multipress. And the SSL one. And then this should be able to stay the same. The only thing I might need to change here. That should work. That's the path to the root. Pretty sure that all stays the same. It's just the server name that needs to change. And now if I change this, so let's just see where WordPress resolves to now. So if I go WordPress.test, that'll, okay, I need to. Oh, that site's enabled. Wrong place. Available on Apache. Okay, let's do that again. Right, and then the SSL one. And now I can enable it. Okay. So that's basically as if I had a DNS, a domain registered and set up and pointing to my server. I'm just setting it up locally. Okay, so I go to WordPress and there's no SSL certificate for WordPress, so that's fine. So what I can do, I'm using a local SSL authority called something. It's called what it's called. MKcert, that's it. So MKcert allows me to register local SSL certificates. I can just go mkcert WordPress.test. MKcert WordPress.test. That creates that. So if I go here, it should not give me that error anymore. Oh wait, I'm going to need to change. I'm going to need to change the path to the SSL certificate in here. should have set this up before the stream, but anyway. This is one of the reasons why I don't recommend trying to learn from me in these streams, because I'm often just setting up things. That have nothing to do with WordPress. That shouldn't give me that error anymore. I don't know why it still does. Maybe it's because it's PHP FM. Let's try that. PHP. Might be a caching thing, so let's disable caching for this. Let's try it again. Anyway, I don't know why that's doing that. Okay, so, you know. Oh, it's because I've created blast. Created the SSL set in the wrong place, that's why. Okay. So it's got to be in there. There we go. Okay. So let's try this. Ugh. Let's try restarting services. All right. Do that one and that one. And that one, that's why. And let's restart this web servers and the FPM services. And then that should fix it. See, and this is what happens when you have your own weird local development config. Okay, so that's working. So if I go to WordPress, it redirects to multipress.test, which is because it's going to a site. But now I should be able to. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go to themes and let's network enable 2022. And then let's go to Bob's site. Let's go to the dashboard for Bob. And let's enable 2022 so we can see some differences. And let's go into posts and let's hello Bob. Just so we can see some differences there. And then let's go and visit the site. So that's what multipress Bob looks like. That's what multipress.test, the main site, looks like. Now I should be able to, as the network admin, change the Bob site address to WordPress, and that should work. So let's save that. Okay. And now if I go WordPress here, Ta-da! It works. So this is the question that I think it was Linda had about, let me go back to this one over here. So I'm going to open up my notes. Mad science experiments. Okay, so let's make some notes here. Let's say experiment 1. Pointing a top-level domain to a multi-site subsite. And this was somebody who emailed us photos of this. I can't remember who it was. But the answer is yes. And as long as you update the site address. Okay, so let's make some notes. So let's say, new top-level domain must be pointing to the multi-site install. In the site, in the network admin site, network admin sites, edit site, change site address URL, change site address URL. To the new top level domain. Okay. So that's a successful one that we can do. I might set up a different top level domain than Bob. But what's interesting about that is if I go into WordPress and there's my Bob user, and let's edit him to give him an easier password, just for my own purposes. Okay, and then let's log out as the network admin. So this is an interesting little side effect. So first of all, you'll notice multipress.test Bob no longer works. So it needs to be bobpress.test. There we go. If I log into multipress as Bob, let's try it again. See, it logs me into the Bob site only, and it redirects me to bobpress.test. So if I go over to BobPress, now I'm logged in as BobPress. So I can either use the multipress URL to log in, or I can use BobPress. Either way, it'll log me into the same site. So that's something interesting to be aware of. So let's make a note of that. The subsite admin can log in via the multi-site URL or the new sub-site top-level domain URL. So that's an interesting little piece of functionality. So that's just something interesting to show. But otherwise, it's effectively a sub-site. I can't edit themes. I can only activate themes. I can't add plugins because this is a sub-site. So that's another way, if you think about building sites, it's another way to, hey Abdullah, it's another way to restrict user access if you make them a sub-site user. Just, one of the things that you could do. You can also assign multiple sites to you. So, for example, if I was logged in as the admin user, I could create a new site. Let's go network admin sites. Why don't I have access to my sites? What's going on here? Hey? Oh, because I'm logged into WordPress. That's funny. I need to be logged into WordPress. Do you see that? So I need to be logged into the right site to be logged in as the network admin on that site. So that's an interesting little side effect. So let us log out. And that's because you wouldn't really log in as the same user on the same site. Okay, so let's log in as admin. Back to the sites. I can create a new site. And you can assign it a new user if you use an email already existing. So if I used Bob, for example, bob@gmail.com, then it would assign this site to that user, the new site that I create. So that's an interesting little thing. So you can give multiple users access to the same site. So let's make a note of that. Sorry, multiple sites can be given access to the same user. Okay. All right. I think that covers everything I wanted to cover there. That's good. I just want to check something in terms of users. So it might be interesting to go through the network settings in the workshop. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, that's something interesting. Okay, so that was the first question. Let's save that. Experiment number 2 was converting multi-site to a single site and taking a subsite out of the network. So the only time you would want to convert multi-site to a single site is if you want to revert back. So I want to focus on taking a subsite out of the network today. So the things that you need to be aware of is the fact that you've got users. So you're going to have to export that user data. I don't know if it's worth going in depth into that. Because what you would have to do no, that's not using this one. We have a look at multipress. We've got your users. Okay, let's have a look at a default WordPress site. Let's say LearnPress. Okay, so your comment meta and your comments would have to go. Links, options, posts and post meta, terms and term meta, relationships, taxonomy. So that you could all extract. And then it would be users and user meta. But your problem is going to be who owns what. Okay. So I think it'll be interesting to do this. So let's wait. What you could maybe do is use the export functionality of WordPress. That might be a better idea. Okay, so let's go and create a post. Hello Bob. Okay, Bob's got a hello Bob post. Let's say welcome to WordPress. Okay, and then let's go to Bob's pages. Let's go Bob page. Okay. Okay, so now this content is very specific to the site. So the easiest way to do it would be to use the export functionality. And that's one way to do it. So let's see if we can work that out. So let me create a new site. I'll call it Bob's Press. And that's going to create a new local site for me. And I'm just going to install WordPress on that local URL. No, not Bob, Bob's. There we go. Okay. That run installation. Okay, so let's see what happens if we export. That's not going to export all the images though. So this is one way that you could do it. Okay, and then let's import. So what you could do is you could manually copy the media files over. That should work. So now if we look, so now it's hello. So hello Bob has been added. Bob's page has been added. There is only the one Bob page. We would need to activate the theme, so we could do that, and then copy all the media over. So that's one way of doing it. That's if you're using sort of a core functionality, and you don't have large amounts of custom data. That having been said, maybe it's worthwhile. So let's make a note here and let's say converting a multi-site to a single site, taking a subset of it. So let's go taking a subset of the network. Experiment 2. Take the way that does that. So we're going to say yes with caveats. So we'll say use the WordPress export tool for your posts, pages, comments, etc. Create the new site. Use the importer. Excuse me. The data. Copy the uploads directory over manually. And then test. And then we'll say caveats. This might not cover any custom data / tables. Let's do that like that. And then I also want to just mention that there are these migration plugins. Only one migration. No. So for example, all-in-one migration has the multi-site extension, which allows you to do all of this yourself. Okay, so let's make some notes here. So there's that one. Third party options. Okay, so there's WP all-in-one migration is one example that I'm aware of. WP migrate has multi-site support. And that as an example. And I'm sure many others do as well. So I'll mention those two. Maybe what I should do is create a couple of posts and pages and things. Because there is no media. I don't think Bob had any media either. So let's just add a media file to Bob, just so we've got a media file. Let's see where that would be. Oh, let's see if that would be installed. So that would be under uploads there. So you would take everything from the sites to directory, so 2023-04 for example, and you would copy that over and that should work. So what I probably should do is create a site with a page with some content and then go through that process. Yeah, I'm not going to do that now. Okay. Then, as it pertains to the next question about, let's comment on that. The next question was converting multi-site to a single site. My best understanding is that you just revert the changes. So if I take my multi-site, there are two things that I'm going to need to do. I'm locked in as Bob again. Log out. It should, I should just be able to, as far as I know, if I just disable multi-site by disabling this constant, and I basically take all of this out. This, as far as I know, will revert my site back to a standard WordPress site. And then the other thing I need to do is I need to revert the config file, which there's actually a sample. Is it the config? No, it's the htaccess. I just want to see if there's an htaccess in WordPress develop. Whether it creates it. Okay, so the easy way to do that would be to open up another default site. So let's say Bob's Press, for example. And just grab the htaccess out of there. Oh, because I haven't set permalinks on Bob's Press, yes. So theoretically, I should be able to set permalinks here. And it reverts it back. And then I should be able to continue using my site as a single site. I can just delete the Bob user. I won't have access to those post pages. I should be able to go and delete those additional tables in the database. And the site should just work. So let's do that. Why not? Let's see if I'm right. So let's open up multipress. And let's kill all the blog, second blog's tables. And the blogs and blogs meta, registration log and signups, terms, relationships to user, user meta, site meta I don't need, site and site meta I don't need. So I should just be able to drop those. And that should revert my site back. Yeah. There we go. Let's turn debugging on just to see if I get any errors anyway. Don't seem to be getting any errors. Everything looks good. Yeah. So that's literally that. So it's okay. So that's how we revert that back. So let's go in here and say yes. Remove multi-site related constants in WP config. Reset htaccess by resetting permalinks. and delete any tables created during multi-site installation, and then finally delete any multi-site users. And then we should be good to go. So if we delete Bob, yeah, all gone. Bye bye. That was pretty straightforward, actually. Okay. So that's actually a nice way to do it. Set up the Bob press, export Bob press somewhere else, and then do the third experiment. And then if you have existing site Bob.la, can you create a multi-site main site to keep the first site as a sub-site? No. The main site is always the first site. So let me go. That one I actually know the answer to. So the answer there is no. If you wanted this, you would need to move sites around. Okay, so I'm going to comment on that there. Okay. Okay, so that covers all the experiments. I'm going to run the multi-site install again now, because I want this back to being a multi-site, because I want to run through some things. I'll leave it as a subdomain install for now. Oh, that's because it's a subdomain. Ugh. I'm going to have to delete tables now. Okay. So it's blogs meta, comment on meta, links, options, post meta posts, registration logs, signups, site meta, term relationship. Might want to actually make a note of this in that last ticket. Let's say WP blog meta and WP blogs. WP registration log, WP signups. WP site meta. And any specific blog content to WP3, etc., etc. Okay, right, all right. So let me delete those tables again. All right, let's try that again. I think this is worth noting.
one thing I know for sure. It's that I know nothing. I wish the stars were out tonight instead of all these clouds.
Okay, so let's leave that there. And then let's delete those tables again. That's really all it's doing when it does that. Okay. Okay, I should put that in there because that's a good thing to note. Okay. So I'll stick with subdirectories. I'll leave all of this as is. Okay, install the tables. So that's all it's doing, is installing tables. So what you could do with that whole let's do that. Let's do this. Okay. So you'll notice that mini press is the main site. So let's add a new site. And we'll call it Bob. Add the site. Then we'll edit the site again and we'll change this to WordPress.test so that that works. Okay, there's WordPress.test. So now I want to see what happens if I change this site ID current site. I want to change this to 2 and 2 and make this Bob Press. I want to see what happens. It's still the main site, so that doesn't really make a difference there. Okay. Can you make this the main site? No. So the main site is always the first site. Okay. What is interesting to note is that you can add users to this site specifically. That will get added to the global user list, but you can add them specifically to sites. You can also deactivate and archive sites. When it comes to settings, user accounts may be registered as long as users may register sites. Okay, so let me make some notes here. Okay, so let's update that comment. Okay, so if you save those changes, logged in users may register new sites. So what that means is if I log out, no, it's not. Let's go back to the dashboard. Both sites and user accounts can be registered. That's the one. So if I log out, there we go. So when I'm logged out, if I hit the site, what you can do is you can set up like a link to WP login, for example. Or there's this register. So you can create a URL. This is very similar to file theme without header. Okay, so there's some kind of issue with this. Oh, I think I've just found a bug in... I think I've just found a bug in WordPress when you're trying to register multi-site with a block theme. Anyway, but you can create a link to this WP sign up or this one, which is, if you can see in the bottom there, it's login.php action equals register. So let's switch this theme to a non-block theme. Oh, I can't do that. Let's enable some classic themes. And let's go back to multi-press site. And let's enable a theme. And then let's log out. Just remember this. Oh. It's interesting, it's still load. Looks like it's still trying to load the... There's definitely an error there somewhere. Please include a header.php template in your theme. It's 2020. It's 2021 also a block theme, okay. I think I've just unearthed the bug. That's fun. Let's try 2021. Sorry, 2022 is a block theme. Let's try 2021. That's better. Okay. So this is built into WordPress. If you have a multi-site setup, I can now register a new site. So I can say, John, and my email address is john@gmail.com, whatever, and then give me a site, and then it'll register. Okay, it must be, so let's say JONATHANBS. So I think this is a cool little experiment to do. And there it asks me for my subdirectory and my site title. Search engines, business, fine. Okay. Right, so that's my site. So it's set up. I need to access my email, which I have on a local thing. I've got a mail catcher set up. So there's my site. There's my key to activate my site. My site is active. That's my password. I can now log into my site with the username. And you'll see it's multi-press test Jonathan Bossinger. And there's the password. And I can log in. And I don't have the option to change the URL, but the admin does. So if it was a subdomain, it would be jonathanbossinger.multipress.test or whatever the case is. But as the admin of this, I could now log into that site and go and change the URL to whatever I want. So if I set up a top level domain, I could point it to it. That's kind of how WordPress.com works. but that does it in the process. So that I think is pretty cool. So let's do that experiment as well. Let's make this experiment 5. And let's say experiment 6. Allow site registrations. So that needs to be in the network settings, enable that. Network settings. Log out and register a new site. There seems to be a bug with block themes, which I will log after this live stream. But I think that's a fun little experiment to run as part of the workshop as well. So that's the 6 experiments that we will cover. I like that. That gives folks a bit of an overview of how multi-site can work and how it can do things. So I like that. Okay. Cool. I think that is it for me for today. I've covered everything I wanted to. I've added a few additional things. Lots of experiments to play with. So there we go. Thank you everybody for joining me. I will have this all prepared and wrapped up and ready in a workshop on Thursday. If you are planning on joining me on Thursday, try and have a multi-site install set up on your local if you want to join and play along. But you kind of need to have access to be able to do things like local domains and all that kind of stuff, which, depending on your local development environment, may or may not be possible. So maybe just come along and watch the fun. Okay, that'll be me today, folks. Have a good one. Cheers.